guys, it's VERONBO. Welcome to my channel. This is my first official Sims 4 build, and I am so excited. I hope that you find my channel to be as fun and interesting as I find it to be. So yeah, if you have any ideas on if the speed of this is too fast, if it's too slow, let me know. Doesn't mean that I'm going to change it, but I would love to get your feedback on it. I am building, I think it's in Oasis Springs, and I looked around at the other houses just to kind of get an idea of like what the Sims 4 creators had made it into, the houses, just to kind of get like the style idea. So that's what I based it on. I've kind of figured it looked very like mid-century modern, so that's what I went with. And then that room that I just put on there with the glass roof, I'm going to make that into a sunroom. That was the goal with that. That was the intention. And I will make it bigger here in a second because I was like, oh, you can't really fit anything in there, so I'll make it bigger. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And this is really outside of what I usually build. I usually build homes that I would want to personally live in, which is very like modern, clean, that kind of build. And so this is totally different for me. And I ended up loving it. I love going outside of my comfort zones with builds because I feel like I can really play around and then I end up really liking them at the end of the day. So I was playing around with colors, and the character that I ended up making for this house, he's very, he loves green. And so that was just kind of, I was like, oh, green. Yeah, I'll just go with green. Green is usually not a color that I use on the outsides of my homes, but it worked for this one. And so I stuck with it. And this door, I was like, do I want it over here? Do I want it there? And I do end up changing the color of the door later because the greens just didn't, they kind of clashed a little bit too much and I just wasn't feeling it. And then it also took me quite a while to find windows that I liked, just because like, I think this is something that kind of anybody that plays The Sims 4 understands the struggle with, is that the color schemes are really annoying because nothing matches. So if you find one thing that's green, you're not going to find anything else outside of like that same pack or that same thing that's going to match. So, and I will be getting a new computer soon, so hopefully I will be able to live stream with you guys, do live builds, and also you'll be able to see my face when I'm building and doing the voiceovers. I'm hoping to also start doing Let's Play, different storylines. So I'm so pumped to start this channel with you guys and to grow with you all and really get into it. See, I ended up making that room a little bit bigger just because the windows, first of all, were not fitting and it was really annoying me. So I was like, I'll just go ahead and make it bigger and just make the windows work. One thing about my builds too that I don't like to admit, but I will admit, is I typically change them after, like once I start playing in the game, I change things. I know I'm not the only one that does that. I just find it really annoying for me because I feel like I should be happy with it. But then, you know, just like whenever you buy a home, like you start finding things here and there that you're just like, oh, I don't like that. That should be like this. And I ended up flipping that door around just because there was already so many doors on that wall that like having that extra piece just made it look really weird to me. And I do end up putting a window in between the bathroom and the sunroom. My idea with that was that the people who built this house decided to add the sunroom. Like it wasn't originally there. That's why the roof is different and that room kind of looks out of place a little bit. And so what they did is there was already a window on the bathroom and they left it there instead of taking it out because that would cost money. And so, yeah, that was my idea with that. Originally, I did wood in the house and then did like plank flooring out there. And then I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do a different flooring. And I was looking for the flooring for the bathroom, and I came across this like terracotta flooring, and I was like, oh my God, I love that. And I was going to do it in the kitchen. And there you see, I changed my mind. I was like, no, the whole house is going to be terracotta. It makes sense in places that are more desert style, like Arizona, New Mexico. A lot of homes out there have tile or terracotta flooring. And so, to kind of go with the theme of the house, I went ahead and just did that for the whole home, excluding, of course, the sunroom. I ended up moving the windows in the kitchen because I was like, oh crap, I don't have any place to put a refrigerator that would make sense in here. I'm really weird about my builds too. Like, I love them. I like them to be realistic for the most part. And so to me, like, no one would put a refrigerator in front of a window. Maybe they would, but in my head, they don't. So I had to move the windows. I had to move it around a little bit. I'm adding in the cabinets, and I was going to wrap them all the way around the kitchen. And then once I did it, I was like, oh, that just looks too, they're so boxy that they just look, it looks like it's too much. So I go back in later and add some shelving units over above like the stove, and then clutter it up a little bit. My other intention was with this house was to stay within the budget that I was originally given, and that did not work. Because I started, once I was done like with the interior of the house for the most part, like the main furnishings of like what a sim needs, I was like, I don't have any money now for landscaping. And I was very annoyed about that. So I just like started upping the budget. I was like, you know what, whatever. This is my first build, and it's okay to use cheats sometimes. I originally was going to do this box TV. I changed it later. Again, like once I started adding to the budget, I just started changing things. Because I was like, oh, this is just like the additional bedroom. So like the bed doesn't need to be nice. So I gave them like a cot. And I ended up changing that later because I was like, that's silly. Especially since I upped the budget so much. The bathroom I left as it was. I feel like the person that lives here is just very, for the most part, minimalistic, and I think the bathroom really just like goes with that whole characteristic. Speaking of that, I am really ready for that new Eco Lifestyle, I think it's Eco Lifestyle expansion pack that EA is coming out with for The Sims. I have been watching so many beta versions, and I am pumped for it. And I'm thinking that this home will go really nicely into that gameplay. And of course, you know, I might change some stuff out like once the game actually gets released. And I might play around with that a little bit and make some things different in this house. But for the most part, I think it's ready for that expansion pack. And again, this is where I start running out of money, and I'm like, you know what? I think I started just doing ka-ching to add $1,000, and then at some point I'm just like, you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna just add the $50,000. You guys, I just really love this house. Like, if I could move into this home, I would. And I know that that sounds so like, I love the house that I built. Of course you love the house that you built. You're the one that built it. But no, like every time I build a house, I feel like this is my peaking time. Like I have made it with this house. And then I build the next one and I'm like, no, this is where I'm peaking. So I really enjoy building on The Sims. I enjoy the gameplay also, like playing with The Sims and like making them live their lives. But I enjoy the building, I think, more. Just because it's so relaxing to me. I fall asleep. This is going to sound so weird, but I fall asleep to like walking myself through a Sims house that I've built or a Sims house that I aspire to build. With the Eco Lifestyle Packs beta games that I've been watching, people have been building a lot of container homes, which is, I'm telling you guys, it was a couple of months ago at least that I was like, I want to build a container home. So I'm also excited for that part of the expansion pack just because it seems Like, that's gonna be the first build I think that I build with it, is that, because the wallpapers and stuff are made for shipping containers. If you haven't watched any of those beta games, I will try to link them down below in the description so that you can go watch them from one of my personally favorite YouTubers, Delagrassi. So I think she does a really good job. She has a build that she does with the expansion pack, and then she also has started a gameplay with it. So I would, if I were you, I would check it out so that you know what I'm talking about if you don't already know what I'm talking about. And I'm just adding some stuff around the house. I was, trying to clutter it up a little bit, looking at different items to see kind of what goes with the house. There's so many items, whenever you start getting more expansion packs that like you don't realize you have or that you forget that you have. And so going through all of the stuff is how I like to build, just because you forget. Like, there's just so much stuff that you can put in here. I added the fairy lights just because I thought that they looked really cute out here. And with it being kind of indoor-outdoor space, I just felt like it made sense. This is the point where I realize like where we're going with this house. Plants are really in right now, just in general, like in real life, in homes. And so I feel like this house is no exception to that at all, because there are plants everywhere. So many plants. I personally really love it. Of course, if you want to play with this home, but you want to do something different, more power to you. We can't all just do one thing and be happy with it. If that makes sense. Like, it's good to get ideas from other people, like I couldn't have had these ideas just by myself. Like, I get them from, walking around my neighborhood, or like looking at other people's builds, or going to open houses and kind of seeing what the style is, what the trend is, and all those different things. So I feel like I should have been an architect, because I love homes so much, real or obviously not real, and I didn't do that. So, but I should have been. So just cluttering it up. I'm starting to run out of money again, and I don't remember at what point I'm like, oh, we're gonna up the funds like a whole lot. I think maybe it's here, because I start cluttering it up here above the stove. I put in some shelving units, because I feel like that's like a really popular trend now too, is to have not only cabinets but shelving in the kitchen, like open shelving, and then just have like cutesy decorations on them. And so that was my idea with this. And I was trying to make these spice jars work, but for some reason my mouse was just like not letting me move them off of inside the wall. And so I just gave up on them and moved to something else. The majority of the house is done. At this point, I'm just cluttering it up, making it look more real, making it look a little bit more lived in, and just working on filling in some empty spaces. Again, I'm having trouble with the stupid mouse. So I'm hoping that once I get that new computer that the gameplay will be a little bit better, but we'll see. Currently, I'm working on a Mac, and Macs with The Sims I feel like are just like tricky. They're not really, I feel like they're not really made for gaming like this, so we'll see. Also, I just heard like a bus or something going outside my window, and I'm just thinking like, no one's in school right now, so what is that? I just want to make sure that everybody is doing okay during this COVID pandemic. If you've lost somebody or know somebody that's working in the front lines of, dealing with this situation, my heart goes out to you. I hope that you're doing okay, though, really. I know that it's tough. I have not personally lost anybody, My sister is a pediatrician though, and so I know the fear of her whenever she didn't know if she was going to have to work with the COVID patients. So I understand, and I am very sympathetic, I feel like, as a person, and I just want to send my love out to you and let you know that you're in someone's thoughts, that people care about you and that people care about your loved ones and hope that you're doing okay. So back to the game though, these wine bottles were giving me such a hard time. At first I was going to put them under the shelves to make them kind of look like an extra like feature built in under the shelves, and I was like, no, that's too much work. And then my mouth started fudging up again, and I was like, that's too much work. It's just annoying. So I think the kitchen is one of my favorite parts of the house. Just because I love all that clutter up on those shelving units. My only thing is with the Sims game is that they don't seem to have any like dishes that are stacked up, which you would think like with the Parenthood game that they would have made that happen, but they didn't. So I found that kind of annoying. I also realized at this point that I didn't have wallpaper on that wall. So if you guys were worried about it in the beginning, I fixed it. Oops. Still just cluttering some stuff up. But yeah, I wish that there were some more clutter items. Maybe in the other packs that I don't have, there are some, but I don't know. Also, because I have the Legacy game, my computer is outdated, which is another reason why I'm getting a newer one. I don't have all of the expansion packs. You know, everything after university, you can't have it if you have an older computer. Like, you can't play it, you can't utilize it. And so I'm hoping to, I think I have Tiny Living. That's like the only other pack that I have that I can't access because I'm outdated. Not me. Me, maybe a little bit me, but my computer, you know what I mean. But yeah, and it's kind of annoying because I really like the furniture and the whole gameplay of Tiny Living, and I don't get to utilize it because my computer is so old. Something that I'm just realizing now too, which might be driving some of you all crazy, is it looks like those, like over the awnings that I put outside, they don't match. Like the ones in the front look like they're higher up than the back ones. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm one of those people that as I'm watching a movie, I'm like, oh, they moved and they didn't fix that scene. So I'm going to be doing that with myself on this build. I don't know why I added that punching bag in there. I just felt like it went with the person that I put in this house and the build. Some of you all might be thinking like, she's crazy. Why did she put that in there? But I did, and it's there, and it happened. Adding more plants, of course, just cluttering it up. I think do I change the furniture at this point? Okay, no, I'm going to do the outside area. I have also found that because I'm not typically a landscaper when it comes to The Sims, like I just don't find it, I get overwhelmed, and I feel like if, I have a hard time believing the less is more mentality. But so doing this, like painting the lot first, kind of like where I want the plants to be and like how I want it to look, helped me tremendously. And that way I kind of had an idea of like, oh, okay, I need to put a plant here. And okay, it's okay if that's a little bit more bare. Because typically I'll like place the plants and then I paint the lawn, and then, you know, I can't really see where I painted it. And so I'm like, I don't even know how that looks. For the most part, I do know that on the plants, I used a lot of them from the Island Living pack. I feel like they went really well with the style of this home and it being in the desert, to have more of those tropical plants. I, again, am not a landscape artist, so I have no idea what kind of plants live where. So, oh, there's my little Sim. There's my little Sim man. So I'm just adding in a lot of tropical plants, really working with that landscape painting that I did, just trying to make it look realistic, I guess. trying not to clutter it up too much, trying not to let my too much gene get the best of me and overwork it. So the thing that I love about The Sims 4 too is the ability to size things up and down and to move them up and down. It is so helpful during build mode because things that might be too big for what you need, they look good there, but they're just too big, and so they don't make sense. Um, or the opposite of that, being too small. So I'm getting more comfortable with The Sims 4, but I'm mostly a Sims 3 girl because I really hate that the create a tool is gone. So, and I'm also still getting comfortable with the Sims 4 builds because I have been playing Sims 3 for so long. Like, even once I purchased Sims 4, I was still playing Sims 3 for a long time. I think it was just this year that I kind of started getting back into the habit of playing Sims 4 and honing my building skills a little bit more and familiarizing myself with the actual gameplay of the game. So I'm changing the windows because I realized that the initial window that I had put in, the shorter window in the bathroom, was not the same color as the other ones. And I liked the way that that one was colored, so I went back through and updated all of the other ones. And then here I am just kind of starting the back landscaping. And I try to use a lot of the same plants. That's the other thing, is like I get overwhelmed with how many plants there are, and so I just start throwing them all in. But so I try to stay consistent with that and try to use the same plants that I did in the front and the back. So that's what I was doing. I saw that flower thing and I just really loved it, that like flower bed. It's so peaceful looking to me. Like, I would love to have something like that in my own backyard, but dreams. Landscaping in The Sims and in the real life is very expensive, so putting some rocks in, making it look, in my own personal opinion, really cute and fun. I am loving this build so much just because it is just so different from what I typically do. I do have another floor plan in my brain of another home that I want to build. I recently did, I didn't record it, but I was just trying it out. I had this like idea that I wanted to build my home that I grew up in, that I'm currently still living in. But I was like, I want to build it. I want to see if I can do it and make it happen and make it look as close to our house as possible. And I did, and I loved it just because it was a floor plan that was an actual floor plan and not me trying to configure a floor plan. I think that's one of my biggest struggles are the floor plans. I just have a hard time really utilizing the space, I feel like, in the best way. So it was nice to actually have a floor plan to go off of. And it turned out really great. I'm probably not going to share it just because I don't want everybody knowing, like, oh, that's where that room is. Oh, that's where, I'm weird about that kind of stuff. So I'm probably not going to end up sharing it. But just know that I did it and it worked out really well. It's really cool. This couch that I'm working on, I was getting really annoyed because it didn't have any, like, green background at all. And I wanted it to kind of match without being too matchy-matchy to the other furniture in there, and I had to give up and just make it white, which I feel like is really boring, but it was the only color I feel like really went with the rest of the room. So I personally love this bedroom. This will probably be my bedroom if I moved into this house, just because I love the angle of the bed. I love that rug. I have never used that rug. I have never seen that rug in the gameplay. I obviously know that it exists because I used it. But I really love it. There's something about those like antique-y rugs right now that I love in these builds. And I don't think I would ever put them in my own home, but I really like them in The Sims. They make it just like look more a little bit lived in. I end up deleting this other rug that I'm adding. I just didn't like the way that it all looked together. And it was like, would they really have a fluffy rug next to these other rugs? Probably not. I also ended up deleting that table just because the round tables in this game make me so mad. They're either too big or they're too small or they're inside or they're outside, but I feel like there's not enough round tables. We have so many rectangular tables. If you're listening, EA, I want more round tables. And I want them to be a little bit smaller than that one, if you can do it. And then I end up coming out here. I meant to add more lights around the house outside. I'm annoyed that I did not, but that is an easy thing to add if you want to add that on. So I wanted to add a light at the front of the house though, probably hanging off the wall, but I didn't end up doing it because I totally forgot, because I got distracted by fixing the lights on the inside of the house. So I ended up adding some fairy lights back there. I think that just looks really cute. And it is kind of, I feel like the fairy lights are a little bit more feminine than they are masculine. I am not trying to be offensive at all. If you like them and you're a guy, that, you know, whatever. You do you. I just feel like for this character, especially that I put in this house, like it is, I feel like it's not really him. But he has fairy lights all over his house, and he's going to be fine with it. I think I ended up just using like a lot of stuff from the Island Living pack in this home. And Parenthood, I'm not sure what all packs I ended up using. I will work on getting better about that and paying more attention to it so that I can link them down below, or, you know, not link them, but let you all know down below so that you know what packs are used. And maybe I might be wrong, but whenever you upload it to the gallery, I'm going to assume that it automatically figures out what packs you used. But I could be wrong. So, you know, don't take my word for that. I'm talking a lot, and I am so sorry if you don't like people talking all through the builds. Let me know what your style is that you like listening to below. Again, doesn't mean I'm going to change it, but I might pay more attention to it next time. I know some builders like to do like a voiceover for most of it, and then like halfway through it'll go to music, or something like that. Or some people just do speed builds with music, solely just music, which I might try to change it up every now and then. I'm so new to this. This is my first build. This is my first thing to ever do this, something like this. So I might just play around with it, you know, in the upcoming videos that I do, and just see what I like, what you guys like, and what works the best. I had originally made this build a lot faster, and then I was like, oh god. So I'm just kind of entering into screenshots now, trying to get a few good ones, and we'll go into that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye.